Target rolled back on DEI, got sloppy in the stores, and is losing millions. What's not making as much of a splash in the news is the companies who found out the same problem and started bringing DEI back because it hit their wallets, not because they're decent human beings. And as someone who researches the unwritten rules of work for the working class, neurodivergence, and intersections of race and gender, I am both not surprised by this, banging my head against the wall, because we already know this to be true, and foresee the same cycle continuing to happen until we address how toxic organizational cultures are and how not primed even for business success they are. I love this headline, Target lost its sparkle, because that's exactly what it felt like when I took a Target reference out of my book. It's coming out in the fall, but I started writing this last summer. And I made a basic white woman love Target joke. And I took that shit out months ago because I was like, oh, it's not going to land anymore. They don't have the sparkle. So what happened? So Target had multiple problems. They rolled back DEI, which lost a lot of its customer base because Target used to be considered fairly progressive. They were one of the first, I believe, to have like gender neutral bathrooms that they called gender neutral and not just family bathrooms like we used to call them. They were also, I believe, pretty early on having the seats that were more friendly for pushing a small child. So very family friendly. But then they kicked back DEI and they started having messy stores, which was, again, a big part of their brand. The brand was, we're not Walmart. You come here for like a better experience, but you're going to pay a little more. They locked up items to prevent stealing, which that happens also when the economy's tanking and people are out of work. And they forced more self-checkout instead of human contact, which if you're replacing a bunch of people with AI right now, take note. And this resulted in a 4% drop in foot traffic, and their popularity crashed from 70% approval ratings to 54%. And they're not alone. 1 in 7 companies surveyed of over 700 companies admits that rolling back on DEI was a mistake. And 20% of them are quietly bringing it back because they don't want the public outrage over people being triggered by an acronym that is being politicized. But they had trouble hiring staff after they rolled back on this. Because when you tell people you don't care if they have a good experience at work, they don't want to work for you. They also lost a lot of money in boycotts. It damaged their brands. They lost customers, clients, and partners. They had negative media coverage. So 75% of the business owners surveyed said that it hurt their bottom line to get rid of it. Now, you've seen me on here talking about how DEI largely failed because a lot of it was performative. It's Pride Month right now. Target, I believe, didn't have a Pride collection this year. And normally they have a huge rainbow collection. And that's corporate pride, right? Like if you're not hiring and fairly evaluating LGBTQIA plus people, then you're just exploiting the holiday. So some of that is probably where they lost some money. But a lot of performative efforts, like rainbow clothes, will only temporarily save your ass, and you will still come under scrutiny and have your reputation damaged if you don't address the unwritten rules in your workplace. What are the underlying rules that make your workplace toxic where people don't feel like they belong? Why are you having trouble finding people who are culture fit even though they're well qualified? What is it about your workplace that makes qualified people not want to join you and stay? Until you address these rules, this cycle's just going to keep repeating, and it's ridiculous. The book comes out this fall, but a free chapter is available on my website. There's a link in my bio that'll take you directly there.